Bienvenidos, welcome, and thank you for joining us today. I'm Mariana Moscoso. I use they, them pronouns. I am an ethnically mixed and partially detribalized Mayan and Afro-Indigenous queer. I'm a parent to an amazing human being, an artivist passionate about digital art and zine making, a sibling, and a child. Also, I am the Arts and Corrections Program Manager at the California Arts Council. Also joining me today is my co-pilot on the AIC team, Roman Sanchez.
Hi, everyone. I'm Roman Sanchez. I use he, him, his pronouns and am a Mexican-American theater maker. I am an educator and an organizer. I love to laugh, and I am a brother and a son. I am also the program analyst for the Arts and Corrections program at the California Arts Council.
So to open up the webinar space, we want to acknowledge the Miwok, Nishinan Maidu, and Patwin peoples as the traditional land caretakers of the area we now call Sacramento, the lands the CAC office currently resides on. As part of our evolving acknowledgement process, we speak into the space the contributions of people of the African diaspora who through enslavement and exploitation have built this place. This acknowledgement is also a commitment to rectify the past and present colonial violence inflicted upon Afro-descendants and Indigenous people here and across Turtle Island, Abya Yala, or the lands otherwise known as the Americas. Please take a moment to honor the Indigenous people of your area in the chat, if you wish to do so. Before we review the agenda, we would like to invite you to use the chat box for any questions that may arise during the presentation. We will answer as many live questions as possible near the end of the presentation. Because we will use the chat feature to collect questions, we kindly request that you refrain from using it for casual conversation.
Yes, so here is a brief look at our agenda and our time together. We'll start with the general overview of the CAC and the Arts and Corrections program. Then we'll take a look at some of the elements of a request for proposal or an RFP. We'll take a glance at the purpose of this RFP and move into who can submit a proposal, looking at thoughts and considerations, and then taking a glance at some of the scoring criteria and key action dates. And we'll end out our time together with a Q&A session, and we'll guide you to the RFP feedback survey.
Thank you, Roman. As you're considering submitting a proposal for this RFP, we want to make sure that you know that this RFP is for training services only, not arts programming. To be notified when we release another RFP for arts programming, please sign up to our mailing list on our website. The Arts and Corrections program is, from our knowledge, the only state-funded prison arts program in the country, and is made possible through a partnership between the California Arts Council, also known as the CAC, and the California Department of Corrections and Rehabilitation, CDCR. We currently offer arts programming as in the form of a service to adults experiencing incarceration in all 36 California state facilities. The arts programs are coordinated and executed by organizations called coordinating organizations. Unlike other CAC programs, Arts and Corrections is not a grant program. We contract with organizations to provide services based on the institutional needs of California state prisons.
Yes, thanks, Mariana. So reiterating that arts and corrections are RFPs are very commonly mistaken for a grant program. However, we do not award grants, we award contracts. And the RFP process is different than a grant application for several reasons that we'll touch upon shortly. But some of the most important ones are it is part of the state's competitive bidding process. And all questions are responded to in a public forum, meaning questions are submitted to myself and responded to in a document uploaded on our website and via Cal eProcure. The RFP proposed budget will be equal to the awarded budget. And again, awarded contracts will be for training services only to coordinating organizations. A full list of our current coordinating organizations can be found on the AIC website as shown here. The AIC website is artsandcorrections.org. And if you land on that website, you'll see that there is a tab labeled Programming. And by clicking on that, you will be sent to a full list of our coordinating organizations, which lists all of the organization names, their geographic location, the institutions they are providing services in, and a brief summary of the services that they are providing. Some of the other differences between the RFP process and a grant application are that monthly invoices are submitted monthly for services rendered. And contractors are responsible for the obligations and requirements outlined in the RFP.
So as mentioned in the RFP packet, the purpose of this RFP is to contract with nonprofit organizations, arts-related units of government, and/or other entities. If a proposer is awarded, they will be known as a training organization, and they will be contracted to provide virtual trainings to the current AIC coordinating organizations. The training topics on the slide were selected by surveying the current coordinating organizations. The top 4 topics selected are healing-centered best practices for arts facilitators, race and equity, restorative and transformative justice, and strategic partnerships. You can read more about the topics in the RFP packet, and additional resources are available in the glossary.
So who can submit a proposal? What does other entities mean? The RFP is open to all current and past coordinating organizations and program development organizations, as well as being open to individuals who are associated with an organization, could be as a fiscal sponsor, etc., or have sole proprietorship status. The AIC team cannot assist in the decision-making of an organizational status.
So as you're creating your proposal, we invite you to do the following. Understand the CAC's mission and vision, read the CAC's racial equity statement, read the AIC program values, watch the name change webinar. All of these items are found on the CAC and AIC websites. Additionally, as you consider which training topics to submit proposals for, remember that you must submit a Section 2 packet proposal for each training topic that you wish to submit a proposal for. Also, we have left the decision of how many participants can attend the proposed training up to you. So as long as you also provide, I'm sorry, we left the decision of how many participants are going to attend your training up to you, and as well as how the participant stipends will be distributed. We encourage you to consider our racial equity statement and the AIC program values as you decide stipend distributions. And I think I did notice there was a question in the chat about how many funds are available. And I know we said we would respond to questions at the end, but it seemed in terms of this section pertinent to mention that the total funding that we have available to award is $130,000. So the evaluations of proposals will occur over a 3-day process and will include AIC staff and a non-scoring panel advisor who has experienced incarceration. On the screen, you can see the RFP scoring criteria, which is also available in the RFP. Looking at it, you'll see how points are allocated. The total possible points is 100. In section 1, about the proposing organization, we're looking for information about your organization with a description of the experiences that help the evaluation panel understand your experiences in providing the training topics you're submitting a proposal for. Tell us how your organization lives up to its values through the work that you're currently doing or have done in the past. We're not asking for a mission statement, but you can include it if you wish to. Up to 15 points can be awarded to the evidence of organizational culture addressing root causes of systemic racism and/or supports equity building. Here, tell us about how your organization is led by the people directly impacted by the problems your organization or proposed training intends to address. In section 2, there's up to 10 points that can be awarded for the biographies of the trainers. We kindly ask for brief biographies that demonstrate the skills that will directly be employed for the purpose of the proposed training topics. Refrain from submitting resumes. 20 points can be awarded to the learning outcomes. Here, you'll describe the skills and knowledge training participants will learn by the completion of the training. You can include up to 10 bullet points. 10 points will be awarded to the overview of the training. The main question is, what activities does your training curriculum include? Tell us about your training, how your training incorporates the AIC program values. And 5 points will be allocated to the reasonable resource allocation. This means we are going to make sure that your budget stays within the maximum proposed amount of $25,000, includes stipends for training participants, and includes budget notes as much as possible to explain all the costs in the budget. Finally, in section 3, there are up to 30 points that can be awarded to the cost points. Cost points account for 30% of the total points, and this is a state policy to ensure taxpayer funds are utilized responsibly at the lowest cost to the state as possible. See the RFP packet for the cost point formula.
So here we're looking at some key action dates for this RFP process. Please note that this table is also available in the RFP packet. After today, the round 2 of the Q&A process will begin and ends on Friday, October 16th at 4 p.m. with the proposal submissions being due on October 30th at 4 o'clock. Proposals can be submitted in person, but any proposals received after 4 p.m. on October 30th will not be accepted. So now we are at the Q&A section of this webinar. As a reminder, all questions submitted in the webinar chat, as well as all questions formally submitted to myself, will be answered publicly via a document posting on our website this Friday, September 25th at 4 p.m.
All right, so lastly, we encourage you to complete our survey. It helps us make improvements for the future RFPs. So you can do that by finding the cover page of our RFP. So if you already have the RFP packet, you may look on the cover page, it's the third paragraph, or you can go on our website and then download the RFP packet to get to the cover page and fill out the survey. So in closing, if you missed anything today, again, please do not worry. This webinar has been recorded and will be uploaded to our website. The goal today was really to highlight areas as it pertains to the RFP. However, all the information in this webinar is also in the RFP packet. So please be sure to read it thoroughly. We know that if it's your first time looking at it, it can be a little confusing, but again, we have another opportunity for questions to be submitted in October. Thank you again for joining us, and we hope that you found this webinar valuable in creating your proposals. Thank you and have a good day.